Broads Media.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome on in to Sports Talk with Broads. There's so much more to get into with this Eagles-Cowboys matchup, and I love looking at an 8-1 record next to this team's logo. Whatever website you're on, whatever show you're watching, whatever graphic is made online, your 8-1 Philadelphia Eagles. It's incredible, baby. It's just as incredible as HelloFresh, and HelloFresh has changed my life. I'm talking to you right now as a best friend. That's right. You're listening in. You're having a heart-to-heart. You're going through some struggles. I'm here to help you out because nothing is worse than getting stuck in that dinner time recipe rut where you're constantly just filled with blah and zero satisfaction because what you're eating for dinner every night, it gets boring. It's bland. There's no taste to it. You get stuck in this rotation of, well, we've been eating this for the last 2 months. I need a change in my life. Well, HelloFresh, all right, it's amazing. They have 40 recipes every single week, so there's always something delicious to discover with HelloFresh. They drop the ingredients off right at your house, pre-portioned with recipe cards that show you pictured step-by-step instructions. How much easier does it get than that? HelloFresh is 25% less expensive than takeout, so that means you get a beautiful meal and also money back in your pocket. Listen to this deal right now. You won't believe it. You go to HelloFresh.com/50Broads for 50% off and free shipping. That's code 50Broads for 50% off and free shipping. The link down below already has the code activated in it. So when you click that to go to America's #1 meal kit, that would be HelloFresh, it's already plugged in and you have to get started right now. Join the HelloFresh family. All right, let's start with this because a hot topic has been the 3rd and 3 call by Brian Johnson, taking a shot with A.J. Brown, looking at the clock, looking at the score. Was that the best idea? And I've already been on the record saying, no, I would not have done that. I didn't think it was super intelligent. With that said, and Nick Sirianni has said this during his a press conference post-game, and I saw it also, I believe, on WIP when he was interviewed on the morning show. So with this press conference, he brought up, at the end of the day, you pin the Dallas Cowboys back on their own 14-yard line with under 50 seconds to go with no timeouts. That's it. That's the most important detail of it all. And I could not agree more with him. No matter what happened, no matter what the offense did in the fourth quarter, no matter how much it stalled out, and it was a very difficult possession when you take over on downs, when Reed Blankenship makes the tackle at the half-yard line. There's only so much you could get done there. You are pinned back, and the other team have their ears pinned back, ready to rock. And I'm not telling you I love the decision to throw it to AJ. I do not. I just want everyone to realize that the position you were in after that was a damn good position that I would love to be in every game. Every game. If I could sign up to be up on the scoreboard, to be up 5 points, and for the other team to have no way to stop the clock except for getting out of bounds, and they're working on their own 14-yard line, the bigger issue in that game against Dallas is Jalen Carter, Hassan Reddick, James Bradbury, and all the self-inflicted wounds. With all of that in the mix, I do recognize that you could look at a lot of the games late and wonder, why do they seem to have issues with certain time management stuff? And that's fair. Andy Reid, one of the best coaches to ever live, one of the most creative guys on the sidelines with the headset on, he's dealt with it his entire career. So, I don't know, maybe we make it seem like it's easier than it is, and it's extremely difficult, and here we are pounding our fists as a sideline Monday morning quarterback, a sideline head coach, a Monday morning head coach. I don't know. It is something to note but I think it's getting way too much emphasis compared to what happened afterwards. What happened afterwards, I mean, you could have that sequence. 14-yard line, no timeouts, 46 seconds to go, 1,000 times, and I doubt that result occurs. So I'm going to focus on what Brian Johnson did extremely well in this game, because you don't accidentally fall into 8-1. They're winning in spite of their offensive coordinator. No, they're not. I'll show you bad coaching in this league. Go look at the Las Vegas Raiders. Go look at Bill Belichick without the greatest quarterback to ever live. That's bad coaching. This team has damn good coaching from head coach to OC to DC. And Brian Johnson had some very creative plays in there. I already referenced the one that got Kenneth Gainwell out for a lead block for DeAndre Swift, who's lined up in the slot, moving in motion. That's a very intelligent football design, and we're starting to see that implemented throughout this offense. And yeah, you have a huge question mark now at the tight end position. The guy's a phenomenal pass catcher. The guy's a phenomenal blocker. You are going to miss him over the next 4+ weeks that he's not available. And the more and more you watch that replay and the way Bell twisted his forearm, it does look intentional. Now, I don't know. Nobody knows. No one knows except for if you're him. And I would like to think, even with plays that look bad, guys are just trying to play football and no one ever has the intention. It did look brutal, though. There was a twist and a bring down to the turf. It looked like there was some definite, hey, I'm twisting and bringing him down, or at least it's a possibility I hurt him, but I'm doing anything to make the tackle. And it sucks. It sucks because I also saw Lawrence's helmet dive right into the knee of Jalen Hurts, with everybody and their mother knowing that he was dealing with an issue with that knee. But to Jalen Hurts' credit, we have a master psychologically and physically, apparently, who can just shake it off at halftime, come out there and ball out and make the most impressive throws I've seen all year long, hobble in on one leg. There's nobody I love watching more in this league than Jalen. We get to do it for a long time, too, which is really fun. All right, I want to react to what Ryan Clark had to say on Get Up. I think Ryan Clark is awesome. I think Ryan Clark is one of few. There's not many out there that I think is reasonable to listen to on Get Up or any of these ESPN talk shows and the talking heads, even though I don't put him in the same category of the talking head, fighting, debating, nonsense shows. I think Ryan Clark is an extremely intelligent guy, and I think he's very logical for the most part, but I do disagree with his take on Dak Prescott. This is about 1 minute and 15 seconds long. Let's take a listen, and then I'll react.
What we learned is that Dak Prescott can show up in championship moments. That Dak Prescott isn't going to be the reason this team doesn't have an opportunity to win a ring. Every time we watch one of these games is, can Dak Prescott show us he's the quarterback to take the Dallas Cowboys to the top? Last night, he showed that. You think about the championship sequences that were just missed by the inches you talked about. The pass to the tight end that's right on the goal line. Dak Prescott's foot being out of bounds on an amazing scramble. But what we saw from him yesterday is standing across from another elite quarterback, you can outplay him. Standing across from an elite defense, I can be the reason we make plays that go above and beyond the X's and O's. This is what we've been waiting on for Dak Prescott. And if you're Stephen A. Smith, you felt like you were going to get the monumental fall that you're always waiting on. The last 2 weeks, Dak Prescott has played out of his mind. Dak Prescott spoke confidently throughout the entire week in every presser. And you were just waiting to say, see, I told you again, he's throwing it to the other team. Look at him again, that Eli Manning look on his face. We didn't get that from Dak Prescott. We got a player that showed he could be amongst the elite. So now the rest of the Dallas Cowboys need to step up and help him get there.
This is where I disagree with him. Okay, now, all things said and done, Dak Prescott is not a bum. As much as in the past I would scream that he make loser plays and he's a bum and all this. Of course, I'm supposed to say that. I despise the Dallas Cowboys, but when you look at the league as an entirety, he is better than middle of the pack. I think you can make the argument that that says more about where the league is. Sometimes I watch football, and that 1 o'clock hour blew. It got good by the end. CJ Stroud, Jesus, what a finish by him. And there was some interesting finishes on red zone, but for 90% of that 1 o'clock hour, that football sucked. Monday Night Football sucked. Zach Wilson can't even play. I actually feel bad for his teammates because these guys are giving 1,000%, and they're pretty much getting held back by someone who doesn't deserve to be in the league, and the Jets are tied to him at the hip for some reason. It's bad. It's garbage. A lot of this league is pathetic. Dak Prescott, you could win with. You don't win because. And when he goes through the list of they were only a couple inches away, yeah, but you're not factoring in that the reason why they didn't get that 2-point conversion is Dak wasn't smart enough in that particular moment. You cannot step out of bounds. You can't do it. That's a mistake made by the quarterback. Throwing it not in the end zone while you could say bang, bang, play, and hey, you could throw that ball 500 times and you probably get it. It wasn't far enough to get past the white line. That is a problem with the quarterback. The quarterback had how many chances to win that football game? 1 billion. They came up small. All I know my entire life, and especially under the Dak Prescott era of Dallas Cowboys football, is they don't do enough. They don't know how to close out. They can't win the big games. They never come up clutch enough to really secure a W and to have people support them. Realistically, you know how we feel about the Sixers? We're starting to convince ourselves that maybe something's there, and then by the end we get heartbroken, right? And we're like, oh man, we're going to do this again, aren't we? That's what Dallas Cowboys fans do every single season. I'm not going to convince myself. I'm not going to believe in it. There's no way we're going to win the Super Bowl. There's no way we're going to win the division. And then they start to see this team win a few games, and then after 10 weeks, there's something like 6-4. Like, well, maybe if we slip into the playoffs, oh, Mike McCarthy's taking over the play calling. But they all know. Deep down, they all know. And the reason why they all know is because Dak Prescott is a quarterback that you could win with, but do you have a quarterback that you could win because of? And there's very limited amount of those guys in this league. It's Jalen Hurts, it's Pat Mahomes, it's Joe Burrow, right? Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. For all this talk about who's better than the Eagles and all this stuff, and is there anyone playing better than the Eagles? I think there's one argument that could be made right now, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're starting to click, and Joe Cool is starting to establish something in Cincinnati again, and that's no knock on the Eagles. There's teams that are stepping up, and every single year there's more than one team that could be in that mix, and I'm starting to look around, and both of those teams are in the AFC, so if we ever get down the road and we see them later on, fun, by all means, we'll discuss that matchup when the time comes. But when you're 8-1 and you're seeing Jalen Hurts, you can't be looking at Dak Prescott and say, whoa, he outplayed him. No, get the hell out of here. When throws needed to be made, Jalen Hurts on one leg puts it on the money to a Devontae Smith for a touchdown. When they were down and they're at home, you need clutch. And Jalen Hurts, injured, runs on 3rd down, gets the 1st down marker, sets the tone coming out of the second half when everyone lost air and they all took a big gasp of air when he stayed on the ground, and it took him some time to feel comfortable again. He was hobbling. He looked slow to get up. We couldn't breathe as a fan base. What do you need to do? You need a quarterback that you win because of. Then he goes and makes winning plays. That was less about Dak Prescott's greatness in my eyes and more about how stupid the Eagles played on the final drive. That's not Dak working his magic. James Bradbury can't hold anybody's jockstrap. That sucked. That's a James Bradbury problem. Jalen Carter, that's a rookie problem. Hassan Reddick, that's a veteran who's a superstar making a dumb mental mistake. That's not Dak Prescott being elite and showing that you could win a championship with and he can outduel these top-tier quarterbacks. That's not what I saw. I saw the Eagles sort of collapsing, but doing just enough. Dak Prescott getting tackled, jumping up midair by Darius Slay. That's inexcusable. That can't happen. You have to get that ball in the end zone. Are we downplaying how much of a disaster that was by him? Make a play. Lower your shoulder, get into the end zone. That's what a you win because of quarterback would do. Anything to get into the end zone. And Jalen Hurts, who squats 600 pounds, can lower the shoulder and work those 2 yards to get there. Or they tush push, which, by the way, is because of a skill level that they can accomplish that as often as they do. That's because of the talent of the quarterback that they succeed at the rate that they do for basically an unstoppable play. Once again, because you win because of Jalen Hurts and his skill set. And I think Ryan Clark is excellent. 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 I think he's phenomenal. I really do. But I disagree with that Dallas take. Now, before we continue, you want to get yourself to one of these games at the Wells Fargo Center pretty soon because they're a lot of fun. The Sixers games are loud, appreciating Nick Nurse. The Flyers games, they're fun. John Tortorella has this team playing well. The Eagles games after the bye week when they're in South Philly, I don't even have to express to you how electric it is. So why don't you go to TickPick? The link is down below in the description. My promo code is set up through the link for this as well. And I'm going to give you a jump start. I'm going to give you $10 off if you spend over $99, and you can get yourself, your family member, take your kids, take a loved one, take a significant other, your brother, your sister to a game. And they have the best prices out there. And they guarantee it. Their ticket prices will beat any of the major competing marketplaces, and they're so confident that they guarantee it. If you find the same seats elsewhere at a better price than TickPick, they give you 110% of the price difference in form of TickPick credits. And there's also upfront pricing. No more doing the math in your head to prepare for how much extra you plan on spending on top of the listed price on other sites. The price you see at TickPick is the price you'll pay at checkout. Period. End of story. No doubt about it. So make sure you check that out right there. Okay. Oh, my grandpop's texting me about going golfing. What's Thursday? Ooh. Huh. Thursday's going to be 70 degrees, huh? He wants to swing the sticks? That's great. As I look down at my notes and I see Thonggate as one of my bullet points, because I wanted to discuss that one dude who was on the sidelines that was wearing the red underwear. I guess it was the PSD brand or something. People thought he was wearing some red panties. That's hysterical. I was showing my wife that, and she goes, you're nuts. The entire fan base is nuts, and that's what we're picking apart during one of these games. You're in a very high emotional battle. You're going back and forth, and you're grinding, and you're trying to beat a division rival, the Cowboys. You hate them to death. And you're focused on some panties. And who caught that? You're right. I don't know. You're getting everybody's best shot, though, too. So when you look at the record and you see the 8-1 and you say you're winning in spite of the offensive coordinator, I disagree so much. It's not 2 or 3 games in. You can maybe slide by a game because your talent, and in football, it doesn't happen as much than in other sports, but a manager in baseball can only do so much. There's certain sports where the coach has a cap on their handprints, right? In football, it's tied at the hip with what your talent is, and I think it makes way more of an impact in other sports. But there is a time where, let's say your coach maybe doesn't have the best game plan and it's not the perfect thing in the world, but maybe your quarterback goes up to the line of scrimmage, reads the defense, switches some things, changes the call, audibles, and then the team wins a game, and that happens 2 times in 3 weeks, and you could take advantage of playing a team that's piss poor in the run defense, and you utilize DeAndre Swift more because of certain changes at the line of scrimmage. Fine. You can do that. But after 9 games, it's totally different. And while we're getting everybody's best too, that makes it that much scarier that this team is ridiculous. Whenever you see the Eagles on your schedule, you highlight it. Whenever you know you're going into the link, you're even more prepared on how much the environment is going to factor in. The atmosphere will be crazy. It's a 425 game. Mike McCarthy says, hey, I'm from Pittsburgh. I hate everything Philadelphia, but I'm up for the challenge. And this is what sports are all about, the competitive nature and the fire. And I respect that viewpoint out of Mike McCarthy. That's what it's all about, and every team prepares that way to the highest level because they know if they drop just 1% of focus, they are screwed, and we will take advantage of that, yet 8-1 in 9 games. It's not in spite of. Brian Johnson has not been perfect. It's been improving every week. And when he has the game that he has on Sunday afternoon, to point out a 3rd and 3 call as the biggest takeaway, it sort of upsets me a little bit. It does. All right, let's run some anytime hotline calls. These are from the night of the game, and we'll start with Zach in Baltimore.
Holy shit, bros. That was the most nerve-wracking. I was about to have a fucking heart attack in this game. I'm not kidding. All right? I mean, Dak Prescott, for whatever reason, turns into Peyton Manning against this team. And our secondary, man, ooh, they were getting cooked. But you know what? We got the W somehow, some way. I mean, it felt like they tried their hardest to collapse and blow this game, but they came out and won. And that just shows you how much of a damn good team the Philadelphia Eagles are. And big props to BG and Sweat with the big sacks, man. Those were huge. When Dallas was driving down there, you pushed them back. Massive. Hey, man, two birds, baby.
And as much as we love Brandon Graham, he's not lighting the world on fire this year. So in regards to the Dallas Cowboys viewing how they played this one and what happened late, you let a guy who's not even at the top of the top of the top of the top mow you down and get home twice. And we love Brandon Graham. That's no disrespect, but he's not Jalen Carter. If Jalen Carter did it, we'd say, yo, that's our rookie who's about to take over the NFC East for years and years. It's just not the case. Now, there's been some stats on Josh Sweat and Micah Parsons that Josh Sweat is popping off and having such a great year in regards to pressure in the quarterback. And when you compare that to Micah Parsons and the love and support that he's getting, maybe he's getting shafted a bit. Josh Sweat is on a tear, though. Good for him. Remember when we would discuss if he was more of a rotational piece and if he could get flirted in there throughout a rotation? No, now he's one of the guys, and it's super impressive to see his growth. This secondary, though, Zach Cunningham did his job. This secondary is problematic. We got to hope that Roby slots back into the corner position whenever he gets back from the injury, and then after that, everything else slides into place. Bradbury feels more comfortable. He just needs to look within. He just needs to look at himself, unless he's playing really banged up and they're hiding that from everybody and not saying anything. It looks that way, and that would make sense. I'm actually somewhat weirdly rooting for that, just because then at least there's an answer. There's a reason why. He stinks because he's 65%, he's 70%, but everybody else is down and out right now in that secondary that he needs to go out there and give us everything he has. You could pick him apart to shreds right now, though, and I do understand that the secondary is scary and teams can do a lot with that. If your defensive front can make up for some of those issues, though, it could maybe balance itself out. Let's go to Amadeo.
I don't know what's worse. My blood pressure can't take that. I'm sure your cholesterol couldn't take that. I'm not sure what's worse. Craig Kimbrell closing out a game for the Phillies, the Eagles trying to close the game out with 2 minutes left. Holy hell.
Craig.
Or Dallas in last-minute situations. My God, that was the dumbest football in that span of, what was it, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute I've ever seen in my goddamn life? you got the win. That is the most important thing. Jalen Hurts was absolutely fantastic in this game. This was the best game he's probably played all year. And I was going to give credit to Brian Johnson, too, because there were some very creative play calls throughout this game, and then it just got so stupid at the end. Like, what are we doing there, chucking it on a third down when it's third and short, when you have a chance to run the game down? I just don't get it. You're giving Dallas so many opportunities. Thank God Dak sucks in, clutch situations. And, oh, my God, the ref ball. The ref ball. They just had to start showing up at that end point of the game. My God, I'm out of words.
Landon Dickerson got away with one. There was a few things that went into the Eagles' favor. That's football, though, and if you look at other parts of the game, I'm sure that Dallas got away with certain things. So the passer rating, I'm sure everybody saw this graphic that was flying around social media. When losing, Jalen Hurts has the first in the league in passer rating, and Dak Prescott had the last. Once again, win because or win with? You win because Jalen Hurts has the number one passer rating when playing down. I don't even know how much the Eagles play from behind. They're 9-1. I don't know the answer to that. Is that sort of rebuttaling my point? Because if you're not really playing from behind that much and you have a good amount of passes when you are playing from behind, but it only happens so often, and you happen to have a good sequence once, and that's enough to push the numbers a certain way. I don't know if there was a minimum amount of passes that mattered in regards to all that. I don't know. I'm kind of just throwing it out there. But there is something to be said because the Cowboys, they're not just blowing out teams left and right. They do play from behind a lot. And if you're playing from behind a lot and your quarterback can't pass the football efficiently enough, you have a Dak Prescott problem. He's fine. He's mediocre. I even say that he's probably above average. And that's really because average isn't very good in the National Football League. You have the Zach Wilsons of the world. You have the Pat Mahomes of the world. You have the Kirk Cousins of the world. Dak Prescott is closer to the Kirk Cousins of the world, and maybe even, I would say, a nudge above the Kirk Cousins, but nowhere near that next tier of greatness. And speaking of greatness, how about our good friend Carson Wentz coming back? God, that's amazing, isn't it? On the Rams. Let's see what Sean McVay can do. By the way, if you found a $100 bill on the ground, you wouldn't walk right past it. So why are you passing up on cashing winners every weekend? MyBookie has the biggest online selection of odds and contests to fill all your sports betting needs anytime, anywhere, so you could turn that sports knowledge into cash in your wallet. Bet on the NFL, college football, NHL, NBA, or play for a share of big cash prizes in the weekly blackjack tournament. If you've been waiting for the right time to get in on the action, let me tell you something. The time is now. Make your winning move today. Sign up at MyBookie. Use promo code BRODES and claim your deposit match, redeemable up to $1,000. Again, that's promo code BRODES to claim your bonus. Experience the thrill of sports betting right from the comfort of your home. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Only with MyBookie. Okay, I'm looking at the time here. Looking at all the calls. Let's take another one.
Bro, oh my gosh, I want to absolutely throw up right now. My heart is 10 feet down. I don't even know what the fuck happened there. We had what? I think we had 3 flags on us, but our defense, they clamped up. Josh Sweat, James Bradbury. James Bradbury had the most up and down game I have ever seen, honestly.
The fourth down play was massive for him. That was the one play that he made that was sensational. Other than that, he was basically burnt toast for a majority of it. So he did make that one play, And sometimes you got to get asked to make one play. The problem is he had the pass interference after that, and he is getting abused out there for sure. The 3 flags were deadly. I just don't know if that's something that's consistent enough to worry about it long term. They're not an extremely undisciplined team. One of my buddies hit me up from Boston. He's a Patriots fan, and he was shooting the shit with me, and he goes, dude, your team's undisciplined. And I said, yeah, they were, but that was rare. That was very uncommon. How many times have you seen the Eagles team do that? That was so bizarre. I couldn't even believe it. We were all numb watching because how are they that far down the field already? No timeouts. They just got down there like that? They got shots at the end zone right now? How? That never happens. Ever. So they were undisciplined in the moment, but they're not an undisciplined unit. And that's what makes it even more frustrating. We'll wrap things up here with Sean.
Oh, Hunter, this shit's going to take years off my life. Can we ever get an easy win? Just a week where you can prop your feet up and just chill and watch an enjoyable football game? I guess not when it comes to the Eagles. I mean, so many emotions with this one. Credit to Jalen Hurts for going out there wounded and leading his team to victory. I still have a lot of complaints on both sides of the ball. I mean, I was giving Brian Johnson the benefit of the doubt until when it's 3rd and 3, you're throwing a bomb to A.J. Brown with a chance to ice it, and then the play to DeAndre Swift where he fumbled at the end.
That was just a DeAndre Swift and A.J. Brown problem for me. You can't be running into each other. And Nick Sirianni was asked about that one, and he said lack of execution. Then he did put the blame on the coaching and said we got to coach better. I think that's more just sticking up for his guys. That one I'll yell more at the players for. The 3rd and 3 is valid. It's valid to not like the play call, but I don't want to lose sight of everything great because of one bad play call. Just like that 1 4th down play by James Bradbury that he made the stop, that doesn't excuse all the bad. Well, this is just the reverse. The 1 3rd and 3 doesn't take away from Brian Johnson putting up all the points that he did early on. Those drives, the first drive, going for it on 4th down, couple 4th downs on your own side of the 50, being ballsy, having some toughness in you, and not kicking the field goal, saying we're going to continue this and be a threat and put our foot on the gas. They could have easily went up 3-0. They said, no, let's keep going. Let's attack. Let's get 7. They had a lot of touchdowns in 4 drives or so, in 4 drives. I think they had 3 touchdowns, and they had 1 3 and out in that sequence, something similar to that. There's a lot of excellence. I don't want to just remove the excellence because of that. We're gonna wrap things up here, though, because we are getting a little lengthy on the show. I love you guys to death. I appreciate you. You're fantastic human beings. I love you. I love you. I love you. If you're new here, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. Appreciate y'all, and we'll be talking very soon.